Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Johanna and I make YouTube videos on wellness, beauty, skincare, food, travel, a little bit of everything that I love. So I hope you enjoy, and today I have a great video for you guys. I have a video on tips on looking for an apartment and what to know when you're looking for one. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so I wish I would have had a video like this to watch before I looked for my apartment. Mind you, I was also a little bit in a rush. Thankfully, I have family and I have friends here in LA, and I could always go back to Florida and see my mom. But if you know me, you know I'm not that kind of girl, and I'm the kind of work with what you got. So for those of you who don't know my story, back in October, my car was stolen in my apartment building and I was not feeling safe whatsoever. If you guys want to hear that story, it will be tagged right here. I didn't feel safe in that apartment, and it was December. Thankfully, it was a month-to-month lease, and I was living with my roommate, who's so awesome. Shout out to Nicolette. It was sad, but we didn't feel safe in that apartment, so I decided that I wanted to move, and I actually wanted to make it a goal to move by myself. I am an only child, so I enjoy spending time by myself, and I think living on my own is something that I'm used to, and I've given hints of it throughout my life, but I've never fully actually lived alone. So tip number one, location, location, location. Depending on where you want to live, Miami, New York, LA, wherever in the United States, Colombia, or whatever you're from, you want to make sure your location is central to whatever you do. If you have an office or if you have a full-time job, make sure that it's close by, because gas adds up, people. Also, if you're an actor like me and you live in New York or in LA, make sure you're in a central part that actually is close to the studios, close to auditions. When I was in New York, I lived in Brooklyn, which was actually fairly easy because of the train. In LA, central places could be anywhere from North Hollywood, Van Nuys, Sherman Oaks, maybe if you want to go a little deeper, Northridge. Those are somewhat of a decent price instead of living if you can afford to live in Beverly Hills or Los Feliz, then go ahead. But whatever you're doing, make sure that your location is central to what you do, because you want to make sure you're taking care of your money. Tip number two, noise. Noise, noise, noise. Make sure that whatever neighborhood you're in, if you're a person who does content creation, if you're someone who does a lot of beauty videos, if you're someone who just does a lot of stuff at home, and you work from home, you want to make sure, which is everyone in COVID, you want to make sure that the noise control is not crazy. How can you do this? Driving by that area late at night, early in the morning, try and drive there as many times as you can and kind of see the noise. Kind of see what the noise control is. If you know what building you want to live in, if you know what apartment, what area, try and drive by that area consecutively if you have time to look for an apartment. I didn't have that luxury because I was kind of in a rush, but most of the time you should take your time looking for an apartment. So take your time and check the noise. You never want to know, maybe there's cars that go off a lot, cars that have alarms. Maybe it's an area that is high in robbery, so you kind of want to stay away from that area. Maybe it goes down even to dogs. When you're checking out a building, check out where you're living, check out who your neighbors are. Tell the management team, hey, who lives on my first floor? Are there any babies? Are there any dogs? You need to take care of this, because mind you, when you're living here, you can't really do much but complain, and that might not be good. When you're looking for an apartment or a home, I would say more an apartment. Someone in your 20s, maybe not home yet. If you're fortunate, then that's awesome, great, get a house, congrats. If you're looking for an apartment, check if the utilities are included. That's something that no one really thinks about. Usually there's apartments that all utilities are included, or just gas, or just electricity. Are those the same? I don't know, I forget. Make sure you check on those, because the final rent price is actually not that, but on top of internet, Wi-Fi. Think of all these things that add up together and see if it works into your budget. If you're not someone who's on a budget, then congratulations, te felicito, that's awesome. I am someone who's on a budget, so I like to make sure that I know what I have to pay, what's my final amount of rent. Parking space. Wherever you're going to live, if you're living in New York and you have a car, then God bless your soul. Try and find a place that's close by that has a parking garage or a parking space. A lot of people actually rent their lots. Last time I was in Brooklyn, I was living in Bushwick, so they actually had a lot where you can rent, and I think it was like $200 a month. I didn't need to, thankfully, because I found I was living in a gem of an area, and there was always at least one space of parking for me. So that's something to think about. If you're living somewhere like in LA, Florida, any suburban or more space to have, Check if the apartment comes with parking. Not all apartments in LA have parking spots. It will tell you in the listing if it does or if it doesn't, and that's a big thing. Look into the parking, because you might not be able to park in the space because it's too small. I had to learn the hard way. I didn't know what was my parking spot till I actually moved in and said, hey, which one is my parking spot? It has these two freaking skinny ass columns and I'm scared to park there, but now I kind of figured it out. I'm from Colombia. People park in smaller spaces. Just make sure you ask about parking and see if that parking is easy for you to get into. My last tip on looking for an apartment are two websites that are somewhat really recognizable, but I actually use Zillow and apartments.com. Those were two helpful websites because you're able to put in the range of rent that you would like to pay. You put the area, and then you can put 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, studio. You could put parking spot available, surface lot, whatever it is. So I actually found my apartment on apartment.com. So go ahead and check them out and see if you're able to find something that's to your needs. Another tip on looking for apartments, especially if you're on one of those major websites like Zillow.com or apartments.com, you can actually zoom into the building and find their phone number, and then you call them. So this is originally how I found my apartment. I went into the areas that I liked, I wanted to see, and either I would drive by and see if they had any sign that said renting available, whatever, I would call them. Or when I was on Zillow, because sometimes I believe if you go through Zillow and you email them directly, either they never contact you, or they take a piece of the pie, or they charge you. Don't take my word for it, but I think it's something like that. So make sure when you're on Zillow or apartments.com, they have a map feature. You could zoom in to the building that you're at, and if you're lucky enough, it's legible to see what the phone number is of the time when they actually posted the listing and they have their phone numbers. Some apartments don't have those signs anymore, so you can look at their old listings, call them, and see if they're available. Those are a few of my tips that I learned when looking for an apartment. Since I was in a little bit of a rush, I am able to share this with you guys. Finding an apartment can be stressful, but if you have the right mindset, honestly, it's all about positivity and putting it in your goals, in your manifestation, that you will find an apartment. I was able to find an apartment in less than literally 2 weeks. I told myself in December when we decided to move, I said, I need to find an apartment by December 15th. I wrote it, I visualized it, I did everything I could, and I actually found an apartment. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have to deal with certain things because I was rushing, but that's why I'm telling you guys, and that's why I'm making this video, because if I had a video like this, I would really appreciate it. When looking for an apartment, just take your time, be patient, drive around the area, ask about the neighbors, see if there's any cool restaurants. I'm someone who actually I like fast food, and I do like my tea and my coffee, so I wanted to make sure that I have certain places around me that I enjoy, and I did. So those are my tips. I hope you enjoy it. Good luck hunting for your new apartment, and remember, it's all about mentality and positivity. If you put your mind to it, you will find an apartment. Toodaloo, toodaloo. You like my background? Toodaloo.